In this problem, you decide to begin selling frozen bananas at the local carnival. They give us the information in the story for what it costs to run your little business, and we're also given how much we plan to sell our frozen bananas for. Our job is to write an algebraic expression that gives the profit for selling n frozen bananas in a given week. So they are telling me that the input variable that I am to use is the letter n, and n is the number of bananas that I sell. I will assume that for every one banana I buy, I sell that banana. One way to approach this problem is to know the formula that your profit, since that's what we're trying to find, profit, can be found by finding an expression for our revenue, finding an expression for our cost, and then subtracting the two expressions. The definition of revenue is how much money you actually get from your customers. Well, we're getting $2.75 for every frozen banana we sell because that's what we're selling them for. So to write an expression for my revenue, I can take the number of bananas I sell, which is given to be n, and multiply by how much money I get by selling each one, which was given to be $2.75. So this expression represents the fact that I sell n bananas, and each banana I sell, I get $2.75. So this multiplication would be how much money I get from selling my bananas. But to figure out how much money I get to keep, my profit, I have to subtract off my costs. So to write a formula for my costs, I have to go back up, and I color-coded this. The items in red are my costs of running my little business. My cost for each frozen banana is 75 cents or $0.75. Plus, we have to pay a weekly fee of $200 for the booth. You do have to be careful that this is in weeks and realize that we're lucky here that the profit function we are to write is our profit in a given week. So there's no converting of units in here. This is the weekly fee for the booth, and this profit is our weekly profit. So let's take care of the bananas first. Every banana I buy costs $0.75. So we will figure out that portion of the cost expression much like we did the revenue. If I buy n bananas and I have to pay $0.75 for each, or 75 cents each, then all I have to do is take the number of bananas I have to buy and multiply by 75 cents each. This would be the cost of buying n bananas. But don't forget that I have to add to my cost the $200 each week for the booth. So now I have an expression for my cost, I have an expression for my revenue. This is where it gets tricky. My temptation is, since I've written the revenue expression and the cost expression, that I need only copy the subtraction symbol. If you do this and you simplify your equation, you will have made a mistake. The idea is that $200 did add to our cost. What's happening is in terms of my profit, because remember this is equal to my profit. If I leave this 200 as positive, then I'm saying that the booth didn't cost me $200, that it's actually adding $200 to the profit, which it should not. Having to pay $200 for the booth doesn't make me have more money for myself, it makes me have less money. So even though the $200 should have been added to a cost, it makes your costs go up, it should make your profits go down. And this is because when you subtract an algebraic expression with more than one term, you need to put parentheses. Now that I've put parentheses, watch what happens when I distribute the negative symbol across these two terms. I've copied the 2.75n. Now I'm going to distribute the negative symbol. If you want, you can think of it as there's a negative 1, and we're distributing or multiplying the negative 1 to both terms. So a negative times a positive is a negative. 1 times 0.75n is 0.75n. And then this is the interesting part. When you multiply negative 1 times positive 200, that becomes minus 200, which it should, because the $200 that we have to pay for the booth should make my profit go down. So I'm subtracting $200 from my profits. Now I need to simplify my expression. 2.75n minus 0.75n is simply 2n. These are like terms, so I can combine them by simply saying 2.75 subtract 0.75 is 2. Hopefully you realize what this means is that we're making $2 for every banana we sell. That should be clear, because if we're buying them for 75 cents and selling them for $2.75, that means $2 of what I sell them for is profit. The other 75 cents just covers the cost of buying the bananas. Then don't forget to subtract the 200 here, so I'll copy that, because we have to pay for the booth each week. Now it's said to write an algebraic expression, which means I don't need to write an equation. My answer need not have an equal sign. So 2n minus 200 would be the correct representation of the profit that you would get for having sold n bananas given this information.